Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you? I'm Nicole Metz.
Hi, I'm Nicole as well.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for having me today.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
Before we get started, I just wanted to talk to you about the confidentiality agreement that we do here.
Okay.
So I don't disclose any information unless you're harming yourself, someone else, or someone else is harming you, and then I would have to do that. So before we get started, I just wanted to go over that with you.
I'm okay.
Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So, welcome. What brought you in here today?
Well, I feel like my anxiety has really just been getting the best of me lately. I've suffered from anxiety for a while now, a couple years, as far as I can remember, and I just feel like it takes over my life, and I feel like I'm having a hard time controlling it more and more, and I feel like it kind of manipulates my life. It controls my life, and I don't really know what to do so much about it at this point. Like I don't know. Like I've talked to other therapists before, and you know, I tried some methods to deal with it, but it's been getting worse. So that's kind of what brought me in today. I really wanted to maybe talk about it and see, you know, what else we can do. And I've never tried this form of therapy before, and you know, I looked into it and I see that it might be helpful, so that's why I'm here.
Okay. Well, with this type of therapy, we focus a lot on present things, what's going on in your life right now. So have there been methods that you've tried before coming here today to help you over the anxiety or cope with the anxiety?
Well, I do some breathing techniques, sometimes also counting, and sometimes I would like make a fist and then release hold the fist for a couple of seconds and then release it. When I have panic attacks, I would, like my breathing techniques, I would breathe into like a bag or something to try.
And this helps you with all the difficulty?
Yeah, like slowing down a little bit. It also helps, not so much, but I try to like talk to like my mom or my dad about it, or friends, like people that know me, that know I suffer from it.
Okay.
I feel like
and
it helps.
When it happens, you're talking to them. Are you usually by yourself when it happens, or you're with like friends or family?
Majority of the time I'm by myself when it happens.
But that keeps you going under like a difficult circumstance, the breathing techniques and the...
Yeah, it helps me just to kind of be like, okay, like take a step back for a second. You know, it doesn't make it go away, but it kind of just helps relieve a little bit.
Coping with it.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's good. How do you manage to deal with such difficult situations each day? Like, does it happen every day, or are there days where you're better?
Sometimes it's worse than other days, but a lot of the times it stems from like school. If I feel super, you know, just like any other student, I feel overwhelmed, except internally it's 10 times worse for me with the anxiety. So I start, you know, losing sleep and not being able to eat, and I just feel physically and I just feel exhausted. Like I'm always so tired, and I get a full night of sleep, and I feel like that comes from the anxiety, like the exhaustion, because my brain is just, and I just over and over again in my head, and it really, I get really sweaty and just almost like a
heart.
like it's hard to explain, but it's just it takes over my life.
Can you think of a time, stemming from what you just said, can you think of a time when the problem was not present in your life?
I think, honestly, when I was younger, but at the time, thinking back on it, I think I did feel those emotions, but I didn't know what it was when I was little. I just thought it was just me being worried or me being scared of something, and now it's like basic life things that I should be able to cope with. I still feel an overwhelming amount of emotions, and I don't want to feel that way. I don't like feeling that way.
Of course. Tell me about a time when you felt the happiest.
A lot of the times I feel the happiest when I have a lot of support and people behind me, you know, like my family and my friends. And you know, there was a time where I used to tell my parents a couple years ago that, you know, I feel like I have anxiety, you know, I feel this way, and they didn't believe me for the longest time, and they just thought that I was just being, you know, a teenager or a 20-year-old, and just, you know, it's life, you'll get over it, it'll be okay. And I would tell them, like, no, like, you don't understand. And it was hard for me to even tell them when I felt that way. But then after them seeing it for so long, and my mom, I called my mom one time on the phone having a panic attack, and then I think from that point forward she really believed me. So I think now
and that made you the happiest when they finally...
Yeah, it really did make me happy for them to understand and believe me, and that helped my relationship with them talking about it.
So that was about that made it a better day because they knew now what the circumstance was.
I didn't feel alone anymore, because you have your friends, but your parents at the end of the day are who raised you and where everything comes from. So without them knowing or believing me, I just felt kind of like alone in a sense. So I was happy once they understood where that was coming from and they believed me.
Great. So we use a scaling question. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the worst in a situation and 10 feeling fine, when your anxiety rises, how would you place yourself on that scale?
This is a good way to look at it, I guess. Honestly, it depends on the situation, of course, like anything. But sometimes I feel like I'm at a 2 or a 3.
Okay.
Feeling like the worst.
Okay.
And then, like, for presentations, for example, I hate public speaking, just like anyone else. But I get that overwhelming of sweating and nausea, and I'm freaking out for days. Like, the teacher can assign something at the beginning of the semester, and for like the whole semester I'll be freaking out about it. Like, it's not like, okay, here's the day off and I'm freaking out. It's the whole time I'm freaking out about it, and that's what goes on in my head, and I can't stop it. So for those, I'm definitely like a 2 or a 3. You know, with like little things, like maybe doing something outside my comfort zone, like you know, joining a team and trying to get to know people or whatever. Like maybe like a 5, or starting a new job, I'm like a 2. Like,
so it all depends on the situation.
It depends on the situation
for the most part.
Yeah. So it definitely depends, but I've definitely reached lows, like a 2, like before. Absolutely.
What do you do in those situations? Like you were talking about the feeling very nervous about a project that's due in class. Do you do anything to like maybe kind of at that moment stop feeling that way, or think of maybe something that you could do to make it a better situation?
Honestly, there's no stopping it, because I know at the end of the day I have to do the presentation. I have to do it. I have to get it done. And at that point I have no choice. So half of me just bites my tongue, and I got to do it. There's no way around it, or else I'm never going to be successful, and I'm never going to be, you know, the counselor that I want to be in the future. So that's kind of
that's what you want to see yourself as a counselor.
Yeah.
That's great.
Thank you.
So that you know what you want to do, and you know.
So I'm in school working hard, and I feel like the only thing that keeps me going is that silver lining. Like, I got to get through this, or else I'm not going to get to do my internship. If I don't get through this and I don't get to my internship, then I'm not going to graduate and do the profession that's going to make me happy, or make my parents proud of me, or, you know, move out of my house. You know, there's a lot of things that I put to motivate me. So at the end of the day, there's no really coping mechanism I use, but I kind of just use the silver lining method, and I just say,
you can see in the future what you're going to accomplish, which is wonderful.
It's the only thing I can do at this point.
Yeah, I know. So some of the solution-focused brief therapy ideas come from a miracle question. So it was developed by DeShazer, which was DeShazer and Kim, his wife, who developed the whole model about if a miracle happened in the middle of the night while you were sleeping, but you don't realize that it happened, and you wake up and you no longer feel the anxiety. It's no longer with you. What would that day be like for you, or what would the feeling be like for you without the anxiety?
Oh, wow.
I know it's a little tough of a question,
No,
but
I
they
feel
develop it to kind of see like how people would feel or can envision what that would be like
yeah.
without that challenge in their lives, the anxiety in your case.
Yeah. You know, honestly, even you saying the question out loud and me thinking about it, I actually felt relieved for
For
a
a
couple of seconds.
moment?
I really did, because
That's
I said,
great.
oh my God. Like, I closed my eyes and I was like, oh my God. Imagine it was all
Imagine
gone,
it wasn't
and I
there.
didn't feel that way anymore. And it feels great, honestly. I feel like, obviously, I can't change who I am and the way my life is, and I can only learn how to cope and just go forward and be positive, like you said, like focusing on now and going for what I want. But
and that's what you seem to be doing, is knowing what kind of things that you want in your life, and you want to be a counselor, so that's wonderful.
Thank
you actually know, like, you're very honest about the problem, so you know that.
Yeah, and I'm a little nervous as a future counselor myself, like how, you know, if I gotta meet parents or, you know, do something for the first time, or a situation arises and I'm like, what do I do? You know, and I'm gonna freak out about it. Or what if I make the wrong choice and I lose sleep over it or something, like, so there's definitely a lot of things that I even now, I'm not even there yet, and I'm
You're already thinking about it.
Yeah,
because you're not living in like what's going on right now. You're thinking of all the things the future. Yeah. Well, I wanted to end the session with a little homework assignment that I do with a lot of my clients. So if you would like to do a homework assignment, and I gave you something to do this week, what would it be that you could maybe, like, that would help you with the anxiety?
Maybe
take it like day by day, or
I mean, I guess making sure that I'm organized, maybe first setting out a list of,
so you could do that. That could be a homework assignment,
like based around my work schedule, when I should, you know, set up days that I'm free to, like, get my work done, so I don't feel like it's piling up and I'm feeling anxiety. And also, I think might help me relieve some tension or stress with the anxiety is maybe doing something that I enjoy to do.
And then when you start making it, you could, like, cross it out, check it off as you go. And then it's like you're accomplishing something.
Yeah, and I guess maybe seeing that list, like checking things off, it might make me feel better. It might make me feel like I have less anxiety, knowing I got this done, I got this done.
Because you're meeting a goal. So that would be great. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, I think that might be. I could definitely try it this week, and then next week
let me know, like, when we meet next week. We'll go over the homework assignment, and I'll see how you did for the rest of the week.
I could definitely try that
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.
It was very nice meeting you.
Me too. Talking about it really helped me today.
Helps a lot.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see where this is gonna go.
Me too.
Forward.
Good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, Nicole. Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you. All right. So, class, we wanted to give the role play demonstration on the counselor and the client for the solution brief, focus brief therapy. So, Nicole was the counselor, and I myself, Nicole, I was the client. And pretty much I presented the problem of anxiety today. And with that being said, sorry, I'm going to turn it this way so we can both talk to you. So
I'm going to move closer, actually, maybe.
So pretty much we wanted to demonstrate some of the techniques that we talked about in our PowerPoint presentation as well. So Nicole actually...
I first used some questions that used in solution-focused brief therapy. So one of the questions that I did was an exception question. Can you think of times when the problem was not present in your life? So it's making the client, Nicole, think of happier things when she's not feeling the anxiety inside of her.
Yeah, focusing on, like, the strengths and the positives rather on the weaknesses and the negatives and, like, past experiences. So that's really important with this therapy. We also did the scaling questions. On the scale of 1 to 10, this is, honestly, I think personally this is a great strategy to use in a therapy session. That way, as the counselor, you can really see where your client is on the scale. And this is a good way to track like the before and the now. So you can use this in the beginning and even use this at the end and see where your client is on that scale, if it's helping or if it's getting worse or if it's staying the same. So I think that's a great technique. I personally would use it. What do you guys think? Would you guys use it? Definitely let us know in the discussion thread as well. And
I really also like the miracle question.
Me too.
Because I think that it kind of coincides a little bit with the exception question, because it's kind of like picturing yourself without the difficulty, without the issue that you're facing, and in this client's case, her anxiety, and seeing when it's erased how that feels, and imagining things in the future. So I think the miracle question that they developed was a really good
yeah, and I think it gives you a moment, even as the client, I could say, being on the other end, it gave me a second to escape reality and really think, oh wow, you know. So I really like that.
I didn't have that stress in my life.
Yeah,
Right,
and
right.
it was nice to think about it and like think of like a positive, you know, and maybe I could reach that one day and work up to ways to feeling that. So that was a nice way to think of it.
Right.
We also used coping questions in the beginning. So what keeps you going under such difficult circumstances? How do you manage to deal with such difficult situations each day? So this is kind of focusing also on the strengths of like building the client up, saying like, so how do you deal with that, like this hard, you know, situation you're going through? So it really allows the client to kind of open up more and talk about those strengths that they have. Yeah, so we kind of just use a couple of the techniques from the acronym that we went over in the presentation. So we really hope that you guys enjoyed our role play, enjoyed our presentation, both classmates and Professor Falco. And if you guys have any questions, we would love to answer them in the discussion thread. And we hope you enjoyed our role play and
Yes,
information.
thank you so much.
We enjoyed this theory as well, and we want to know if you guys did. Thank you
Thank you, guys.
Have a good
Bye.
one. Bye.